predictable publicity stunts from the Duke and Duchess of Delusion, which threatened to steal the limelight from the official proceedings. Now, no man knows more about all of this than the esteemed royal biographer of both King Charles and Meghan Markle, Tom Bauer, who joins me.
I think there's more to come.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think she's the master of the unexpected to deliver, and it's all expected. So I'm sure that when Harry is here, or just before he arrives, something else will come out of California that will overshadow what the coronation is meant to be about, and not meant to be about her.
And our own Phil Dampier early in the show tonight revealing news that Harry has threatened that
that he didn't want to come. I've always said on the programme I didn't think they would come at all. I didn't think he would come, and I think he's looking for an excuse not to come, because I think quite clearly he has been put back into the guest list area of the Abbey rather than at the front. And I suspect he'll look for an excuse.
That's our view, but it's not theirs. They need the money, and they need it now more than ever because they've got no other source of income. So I think they're just stuck with the devil now. They're tied to Netflix, they're tied to their book, and all the criticism they're going to take means nothing. That's the only way they can earn their money.
Very interesting, actually. I don't know if you saw this from Tina Brown, who was, of course, one of the last people to see Diana before her death. She said the Duke and the Duchess are the Henley Literary Festival, and she branded the couple D-list celebrities and said in Montecito their $14 million mansion is a humble cottage compared to what these other people have. And she added, at some point it might be more than a new house she's looking for. Elon Musk is still single. That's all I have to say. So do you agree with Tina Brown that there is behind what Meghan does? Obviously, you've written this book, Revenge, about her so recently, of course.
Well, of course, that has always been her motive. She is money obsessed and always has been. And that is why she married Prince Harry. A great surprise and disappointment was to discover that Prince Harry had very little money. She imagined he'd be worth hundreds of millions, if not billions. And she's having to make up for it now. And that's why I think, I think Tina is a great journalist, and perhaps she has inside information. I don't see how the Sussexes can give up both the Netflix and the book deal. They won't be living in a Montecito cottage. They'll be more likely living somewhere in downtown LA, in a little hovel. That's their problem. They're stuck now. But, you know...
You don't hear the bomb explode, you feel the pressure change. 1 minute, timelines are quiet. The next, a phrase starts repeating in comment sections like a drumbeat. Bauer has tapes. Not a headline from a newsroom, not a court filing, a whisper with perfect teeth, polished just enough to trend. By lunchtime, everyone's an expert. By dinner, everyone's exhausted. And somewhere in the middle, one question rises above the noise. What do we actually know? The public story fits in a single sentence. A veteran royal biographer is said to be sitting on recordings that could change everything. The private story is messier. No releases. No transcripts, no paper trail, just a wave of videos promising real talk and inside audio that never quite materializes. That gap, the space between promise and proof, is where the internet does its best magic and its worst damage. If you've watched this couple long enough, you recognize the choreography. A rumor spikes, a chorus insists it's confirmed. Screens fill with close cropped clips, dramatic thumbnails, breathless narrations. The algorithm doesn't care what you feel, only that you feel. Suspense, outrage, vindication, any flavor will do. And every repost ratchets up the stakes until people forget the first rule of every big reveal: receipts, or it didn't happen. Here's the fork in the road most audiences never see. Path 1, the tabloid version. It sells you certainty, hands you a villain, and wraps the whole thing in sources say. Path 2, the uncomfortable version. It admits we don't have verifiable audio, dates, or context. It asks whether these tapes are real, whether they're edited, whether they even exist. One path delivers dopamine, the other delivers doubt. In 2025, dopamine usually wins, but doubt is where grown-up storytelling lives. Because if recordings ever do surface, context will matter more than volume. Were they private brainstorming sessions about brand strategy, off-the-record venting that sounds colder than it is, snippets sliced from longer conversations? Without the full cut, tone and intent can be made to say almost anything. The internet loves a smoking gun. Most of the time it's a smoke machine. So why does this rumor feel so combustible? Because it hits 3 accelerator pedals at once. First, celebrity brand building. Audiences are obsessed with the machinery behind glossy images. Second, the royal factor. Centuries of protocol colliding with modern PR. Third, parenthood. Nothing ignites opinion like the notion that a family's most private space is being leveraged for optics. Mix those elements, and even a hint of a recording sets comment sections ablaze. And then there's the name attached to the whispers. Tom Bower is not a random avatar. He's a professional biographer with a reputation for digging, and his books, love them or hate them, land with force. That track record gives this rumor an aura of inevitability. If anyone had tapes, surely he might, but reputation isn't evidence. A legacy of hard-hitting books doesn't equal a cache of secret audio. Until something verifiable appears, Bower has tapes is a sentence looking for its ending. Behind the spectacle sits a quieter conversation about consent and context. Private talk, by definition, isn't scripted to be fair or kind. People speak in shorthand. They float ugly ideas to reject them out loud. They game out optics the same way a coach runs a practice drill, precisely because they won't run it on game day. A recording of that process, stripped of the "no, that's wrong" follow-up, can look like a blueprint rather than a brainstorming session. That's why raw audio without full context is the perfect accelerant for moral outrage, and the worst foundation for truth. Meanwhile, another machine is humming, the monetization pipeline. Each new upload about hidden tapes spins off 5 more reaction videos, 10 breakdown threads, 100 stitched duets. Everyone gets a slice of the watch time while the original claim stays vapor. It's a marketplace where attention is currency and certainty is the sales pitch. By the time anyone asks for proof, the sellers have already moved on to the next stall. Here's the part creators don't usually say out loud. You can keep viewers without sacrificing integrity. Give them stakes, pacing, and tension, but make the twist the process, not the scandal. And let them feel the rush and learn the rules. Spell out what would count as real evidence. Date-stamped files, independent forensic verification, on-record corroboration, and what counts as narrative sugar, anonymous DMs, screenshots without metadata, a friend of a friend. That way, when the next rumor hits, your audience shows up sharper, not just louder. Let's map the storm as it moves. First wave, tape rumor. Second, they're panicking. Third, legal Armageddon. Notice how each wave arrives whether or not anything new is verified. The plot advances because creators say it does. A smart viewer asks, what would we see if this were real? Clear chain of custody, a publisher taking legal risk on the record, outlets that bet reputations on fact-checking, not views on vibes. Without those, we're watching a trailer for a movie that hasn't been shot. There's a human layer too. Public figures learn fast that silence gets interpreted as guilt, and responses get sliced into confessionals. If they ignore rumors, they're hiding. If they clap back, they're rattled. If they post a family moment, it's staged. If they post nothing, it's damage control. That no-win loop is the oxygen within which speculation thrives. You don't need malice to power it, you just need momentum. So what do we do with the names at the center of this? We can acknowledge the fascination without feeding the fire. We can talk about brand management, media strategy, and the costs of living as a 24/7 headline without turning minors into cliffhangers. We can analyze patterns, timely teases, curated reveals, controlled access, and still draw a hard border at private identities. Lines matter, especially for kids, especially online. Here's a viewer's toolkit that keeps you entertained and bulletproof. Dear Toa, demand receipts. Someone heard something isn't a receipt. A verifiable file with unbroken metadata comes close. Follow the incentives. Who gains attention, money, or leverage if you believe this today? Beware tight crops. If a clip never shows a full timestamp, complete exchange, or room layout, assume it's telling you a slice, not a story. Clock the timing. Do rumors conveniently land before a book launch, a series drop, or a big anniversary date? Hype has calendars. Separate optics from ethics. Discussing how this will look is crass, sure. It's also what every publicist does hourly. Strategy talks sin, evidence of harm vibes. And if you're creating content, Here's the move that earns trust. Own your verbs. Say rumors claim, unverified posts allege. No independent outlet has published the audio. Keep the pace hot, the language vivid, and the boundaries intact. You'll keep viewers who come for drama and stay for judgment. There's a version of this story I'd love to see, the day receipts exist. Not because anyone wants a family nuked, because clarity beats purgatory. If authenticated audio ever sees daylight, then yes, pull it apart. Who's speaking? What's the full context? What decisions followed? But until then, the only responsible cliffhanger is the simplest one. We don't know yet. That 3-word sentence isn't weak, it's rare. It's the difference between being a passenger on the rumor flight and asking to see the cockpit. It's the pause that keeps strangers' children out of your thumbnails. And it's the reason some channels build audiences that last longer than a trend cycle. They tell the truth about what they know and what they don't. So, where does tonight leave Harry? With the same paradox he's lived in for years. Silence looks suspect, speaking looks strategic. Either way, the audience will project its favorite story onto a face they don't actually know. And where does it leave the rest of us? With a choice that matters more than we admit. We can reward whoever shouts shocking proof the loudest, or we can reward whoever shows their work. If you've made it this far, you can already feel the difference. You still got your plot twists, your tension, your wait, what beats. You also kept your footing. That's the new bar for high retention in 2025. Hook hard, verify harder. The next time secret tapes start circulating, ask for the metadata before you hand over your attention. If the files are real, the truth won't mind the flashlight. If they aren't, the rumor will evaporate the second you switch it on. Until then, here's the only ending that won't age badly. We'll follow the story, not the stampede. We'll keep the pace and keep the line that says children are never content. And when the facts arrive, we'll be right here, ready to listen to what's actually on the tape, not just what the thumbnail promised.